All right, welcome to episode number 19 of Sheev's Throne Room podcast. I am joined today with Jordan. He's one of the admins at Wookiepedia. It also goes by Supreme Emperor. Uh, Excited to have you on, man. This is going to be fun.
Thanks for
Te-
having us. We're happy to be here.
yeah, we'll get into it, but my relationship with Wikipedia is a long one. But tell us a bit about yourself and how you got into Star Wars and maybe even how you got into this doing admins for Wikipedia.
So my journey started mid 2000s. I wasn't in the movies. It was I picked up a used copy of Heir to the Empire from
Oh
a
yeah.
used bookstore. After I read that, I snagged the rest of the trilogy, then went on to Jedi Academy trilogy, and then I just had to keep going down that rabbit hole. So it was probably around, I want to say 2006, 2007 when I first found the site. So not long after it was created in
Hmm.
2005. Um, and I essentially started just grabbing any book I could find. Didn't matter if it was the middle of a series, I would just get the book, read it, and use Wikipedia to fill in the gaps.
Hmm.
Following that, around 2008, started making a couple little test edits here and there. Didn't
So,
really do too much until around 2011. That was when I really jumped into the site's IRC chat, the Internet Relay Chat,
mhm.
um, and just started doing stuff on a daily basis. And then, kind of once you go down that rabbit hole, you don't really come out.
So that's interesting. So I've never actually talked to anyone that's got introduced to Star Wars through the books. Like all the time, it's movies, the TV shows, yada. But the books, like that's interesting to me. What was that like reading Heir to the Empire, not knowing anything about like Luke and Han and Leia and stuff like that? Obviously, like Mara Jade was new to the book and stuff like that. But
Oh,
uh,
so growing up, like I knew all of like the basics of Darth Vader is
sure,
Luke's
for
father,
sure.
and I knew the basic storyline. But it was just something about the way Zahn wrote that just kind of pulled me into that universe.
That's yeah. I just found that interesting. Like I love Heir to the Empire and stuff like that. It's a classic. Good old Sabayoth going off crazy, Luke and all that. But oh man, so would you say that you're more into like the book side of things as well then?
I would say that tends to be kind of where I lean,
Okay.
but I'm very invested in everything, albeit a little behind when it comes to a lot of the comic and book related, like the
Sure.
newer materials.
Yeah.
Um, but that's definitely where I do have a very soft spot for the books and for
Mm.
the authors that create that side of the universe.
Is there a favorite Legends of Canon, whatever? Is there a favorite book of yours? It could be Heir to the Empire.
I'm gonna go with for Legends Heir to the Empire, and
Hmm.
for the nuke for canon, I'm probably gonna go with Lost Stars.
Lost Stars is a solid choice. That's Claudia Gray, right?
Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
it was, and I just love the way that it just kind of ties everything together.
Yeah, and that was a fairly early one into the Disney acquisition, I believe. So
It was, yeah.
that was, I think, I agree with you. That's a great book. That was definitely one of those books when Disney took over. I'm like, okay, it's in good hands. I'm liking where this is going. Like even
Like
like
it's all gonna be good.
yeah, it's gonna be like it's gonna be bumpy for sure. Don't get me wrong, but like okay, they clearly care. They're getting people on here that care about the universe.
And the
So
cool thing about this with the new continuity is it's the people that are creating the content are the people that grew up in this universe, the
yeah,
people that grew up, idolizing Leia and Luke and Han and Chewie.
and like study the characters intrinsically as when they're like kids.
Exactly. And they grew up in this universe, and now they get to then give back to it by creating material for the next generation of fans.
Well, and I think they've talked about this on some of the production, like behind the scenes stuff, or like the shows and stuff like that. Or I think it was actually at Celebration. Dave Filoni said that most of the crew now that he's working with is people that grew up with like the prequels and stuff like that, which is nuts to me because I was a child when those came out.
I swear I'm not that old.
Yeah, but it's like they're surrounded by people that are passionate about the universe and stuff like that, and obviously there's people passionate young older as well, but it's people that just love it that are creating it, whether it be sound
Exactly.
design or being a writer or something like that. And I think that's just beautiful, and it's creating more stories that are I don't know more impactful, I guess.
Yeah, and it's just going to keep going deeper and deeper from here.
Totally. Totally. So, how do you feel about Legends versus canon? Is that, do you make a distinction, or do you like one over the other kind of thing?
No, I tend to go with both. Legends obviously is where Legends is kind of where my heart is, but
Hmm.
I'm definitely very invested in the new continuity. I think they're doing a fantastic job with it, especially with things like Mando and Obi-Wan and Book of
Mm.
Boba Fett. It's just getting better and better.
High Republic. How are you feeling about High Republic?
Oh, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Not
Some
just the material, but I'm loving how like open and approachable the authors and creators are.
Yeah, like all the main five that kind of started it, phenomenal. Like legitimately really nice people. I met a couple of them at Celebration a couple of weeks ago, and just the best, absolutely the best. Um, did you end up going to Celebration this last one, or planning to go at any point?
So I didn't make it to this celebration, but I was in town at the that same weekend that it was going on.
Okay.
So Fandom, the company that hosts Wookiepedia and
Yep.
other wiki sites like Memory Alpha, they were having their annual Community Connect, and what that is they invite a number of like the top users from across the platform to a 4 day long full conference where we just basically get to sit, we get to chat, we get to give feedback sessions, do presentations,
Hmm.
and just really collaborate in on a much larger kind of in person scale. Um, that ended up being in Los Angeles, so we were probably about an hour and a bit away from Celebration.
Oh, that's cool.
Never had time to actually slip over there though.
Oh,
We're hoping to do something for Celebration London next year, but it's a little too early to tell for that.
fair enough. Yeah, it's a great time. I like if for sure if you ever get a chance to do this. That was my second one. I went to Chicago the previous time, and man, it's just a special time.
That's
Um,
hoping we can. I'm really hoping to make it to London. So I've also never been overseas, so that would
oh
be.
yeah,
I think that'd be a great way.
yeah. Make a little vacation out of it. I'm planning on going for like
Exactly.
a week or two. Is there so outside of books and stuff like that, is there like a dream project that you would love to see, whether that be in like a director or a author or something like that that you would want to see?
What I've always wanted to see is it's kind of something that's already happening right now, but it's just more increased collaboration between the fan community and the creator community.
Mm,
And we've seen that a lot lately with some of the newer shows. Like I've seen you'll get prominent podcasters and prominent individuals in the fan community appearing in the background of some of these episodes,
yeah.
such as Obi-Wan
The five
Kenobi.
of the 501st being the
Yeah, and it's
stormtroopers and stuff like that.
yeah, and I think that, and I would just love to keep seeing that, and I think we are going to get a lot more of that. But getting to see the people that are so passionate about this, getting that kind of once in a lifetime opportunity to even play some small role in the creation of this universe that they love.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. That's I would love to be have that opportunity myself. So, if anyone's listening, I'm
I'm totally down.
I will control a nostril. Like I don't care. Um, is see like is there like a director, like yeah, they're fan projects and stuff like that. Is there a like director or something that you would like to see? Like for instance, have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once?
I have not.
Great movie, 100%, like one of my favorite movies of all time now. I would love to see the Daniels get their hands on something weird with Star Wars because I love it when Star Wars gets weird. So
That would be, you know what? I actually wouldn't mind seeing the Wachowski sisters
that would be
involved.
so down for that.
That a Matrix style Star Wars would be just a great concept.
Yeah, did you see the last Matrix there?
I did. That was a nice little throwback.
Yeah, I actually, me and my dad actually went and saw that movie, and I was like, man, this is quite enjoyable. Like, I had a really good time watching that movie. Anyway, back to Star Wars. um, uh, so, being a Wikipedia admin, is there a favorite article that you have on there that not a lot of people would think about?
I mean, the one I always go to, and I use this to, I suppose, quote unquote, troll people, just because it's so out there and weird, is the article on Argo 6. And anyone who follows us on social media will see me plugging this article from time to time just to kind of torment people with this knowledge that I have this knowledge and now you have this knowledge.
And for anyone that doesn't know, do you wanna what is this knowledge?
Are you personally familiar with Argo 6?
I've heard whisperings. I'm not familiar off the top of my head.
So this is something from the 1993 book Monsters and Aliens from George Lucas. So it's a reference book that showcased a lot of a lot of kind of unused materials and a
Right.
lot of kind of behind the scenes things. But it has a lot of very weird things in it, such as Argo 6, which opens with the quote: "A molecular dentist on Argo 6 performing a routine molar cracking uncovered a tiny but complex farm in the mouth of one of her patients."
So it's
Yes.
like so it's Men in Black essentially in someone's mouth.
So, yeah, we have Argo 6 was a terrestrial astronomical object, the climate of which featured several seasons. All members of a family residing on the celestial body maintained miniature farms in their mouths, which helped provide them with sustenance. Farm in the mouth of one member of the family contained fields of alfalfa, chicken coops, and a complex irrigation system.
That's fantastic.
And those fields of alfalfa were located on the tongue, the chicken coops were lining the throat, and an irrigation system was between the incisors.
That is definitely like
It's
I said it
horrifying.
before. Well, it's horrifying, but at the same time, it's like that reminds me of Men in Black with like the planet zooming out and there's more worlds and stuff like that. But I'm glad we haven't seen that in movies. 'Cause maybe Taika Waititi he would be the one to do it.
But you know what?
Personally, I am a fan of Droopy McCool. I think that's the
Oh yeah, you gotta love Droopy.
Droopy McCool is like I'm like that is the stupidest name you could ever give a character, and I love it. I got a shirt with Max Rebo and Droopy McCool on it, and I wear it as much as I possibly can.
You can never have enough Droopy McCool.
So we Obi-Wan just finished. Uh, that was 6 episodes. Full spoilers. I mean, this probably will come out next week by the time we record this. You said you had already watched it. Overall thoughts, concerns. How are you feeling?
Damn it, it's good to get Ewan and Hayden back on set.
100%. 100%. Like, I would be lying if I said I wasn't tearing up the with the first episode, and it just progressively got worse for me as the time went on. Like
Yes.
yesterday when this came out, I was full on sobbing the entire episode.
I think the quote that I stole from Twitter was like sobbing, shaking, hyperventilating. And I think that probably accurately sums it up.
Yeah, like oh man, if Ian McGregor and Hayden don't get some sort of even just a shout out for an award, like a nomination, like for that one scene, man, I don't know. I don't trust society if they don't. But I don't know. I went in there being like these are what I want to see, but if I don't see it, whatever. And I went in there and I didn't even know like, hey, if we're gonna get Princess Leia, like the fact
Yeah,
that
they were very good at keeping that quiet.
yeah, I heard rumblings and I'm like, there's no way, whatever. Like, what? Why would they do that? That doesn't make any sense to me. And like, I was happy to be proven wrong. Leia was one of my favorite parts of the entire show, which is
And yeah, and then that actress just nailed that role
yeah,
perfectly. Exactly what you would expect from like a 10-year-old Leia.
yeah. And like, there's some people getting mad that like that a child doesn't speak like that. I'm like, well, Leia would like it's Leia. And then obviously like Moses Ingram was phenomenal as Reva and stuff like that. Like
Yeah, and
absolutely.
just
Oh
yeah, and even just like right down to like the little facial expressions that she used while giving her lines,
yeah.
it was just perfect.
Like in the way that she spoke her lines, like the way that consonants hit in certain words. Like I don't, oh, man, it was phenomenal. I'm very excited to see her in more stuff. They and I feel like they're setting her up for more stuff.
Oh, I would love to see a spin-off exploring how she got where she is.
Yeah, or even just like after the fact, the aftermath of it, her wandering the galaxy. There's a rumor of
Yes.
like a Cal Kestis show. Maybe she shows up in there, and like who knows. Um, yeah, I just was very happy about the overall execution of the entire thing. Sure, there was looks like there was some budget stuff, but I can look past that. Like, hey,
Yeah, and it was just, and overall, like, it was just a good story.
yeah, like you don't. There's some definitely some movies and shows out there that have like the shittiest budget in the world, and they're phenomenal, right? So
Yeah.
people saying budget was like, oh, it's taking me out of it. All right, maybe get an imagination a little bit. um, when it comes to rewatching this saga, like I'm adding this into the saga rewatch.
Oh, and it enhances A New Hope so much because now
Yeah,
it's you get this additional context of why he's like, Darth.
yeah. Well, and even that, and like the small smile that Obi-Wan gives right before he disappears when he sees Luke and Leia running together. Like before, we were just like, oh, it's just Luke, but now we're like, oh, it's like he's seeing them together. He's
Yep, and not to mention that Skyhopper toy he has.
Yeah, little stuff like that, or when Luke like frees Leia out of the prison block, and she says, "I'm here with Ben Kenobi," and she's like, "Ben Kenobi." It just informs way more.
Yes.
Oh, I just give Deborah Chow as much Star Wars content as he possibly can. I'm happy for her to do anything. Speaking of shows, is there anything in the future that you're looking forward to?
I tend to gravitate just kind of whatever the next show is going to be. So I
Fair enough. So
believe next
Andor.
up was Andor, yep, being next. Um, that's where I tend to lean. It's just like, all right, now what's coming up next?
Fair, yeah. I
Which
mean,
is like everything.
yeah, because in the next like 2 months we're getting 3 shows. Uh,
Yeah, like this is a good time.
it's the golden age of Star
Yes.
Wars content. The previous guy out on here, Alden Diaz. I don't know if you've seen him on Twitter. There,
Yeah.
uh, we were talking about it. Like there was a time in Star Wars where, in the fandom and stuff like that, that we didn't know if we were getting any more. Like we were just living off the books and stuff like that, which was great. But we didn't know we were going to get any more. Now we're like truly in a golden age of content, just getting pumped out, and it's good. Um, I think for myself, I'm looking forward to Tales of the Jedi the most. Andor is going to be phenomenal. Like, don't get me wrong, it's going to change people's lives, is what I saw on Twitter.
And
But
you just know it's going to.
yeah, like I don't know, they're pumping a lot of budget into this. They know that it's going somewhere. And 24 episodes, okay, they know what they're getting into.
Yeah,
Um,
like this is gonna go places.
yeah. Have you seen anything about Tales of the Jedi?
Aside from just that, whatever was leaked from Celebration, that
Okay.
was about it.
Yeah, because we got a full episode at Celebration. That
Oh,
was
really?
yeah. We got to see the first. I won't spoil it because obviously it's not out. But we saw the first episode with Ahsoka essentially being born, and that what led into
Oh,
that.
that is. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and like it was Janine Gavankar plays Ahsoka's mom, and
Oh,
it
that's cool.
it was just a beautiful, beautiful little like 20-minute short story. Um, I highly recommend going and finding Dave Filoni talking about it after you see the episode because he says some stuff like about how the nature of the Force works, and like I was sitting in that panel tearing up. It was beautiful.
All right, now I really can't wait for this.
Yeah, it was one of those special things. I'm like at Chicago in Chicago. We saw the like 15-minute clip of Mando, and I had the same feeling when I was watching this, where I'm like, man, this is gonna be something special. This is gonna take off. So
Like we're going
we're
places.
going places that emotionally I don't know if I can feel. And then we're also seeing like young Dooku and stuff like that, which fucked me up with some Dooku content.
Ooh, okay, I can get behind that.
Yeah. Um. Ba, ba, ba. Let's see. So, how has your journey been in terms of obviously you like got into this early 2000s with like books and stuff like that, but how has it got evolved from there to now with the fandom and stuff like that in your relationship with it? Because obviously we've
So
gone through several shifts and stuff like that in terms of obviously Disney taking over and all that.
So for me personally, it was a big part of my journey, kind of through, through childhood into adulthood. But beyond that, it's led me to what is one of the greatest communities I've ever been a part of, with some of the best friends that I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's people on site that I've worked with for like 10 plus years now, who I know better than some people I know in real life, like
Mm-hmm.
off site. Um, it's where I found my girlfriend, who has also worked on Fandom platform for like a good 10 years or so now. Um, and it's just kind of been like one journey leading into a much larger one, where it's like I started with this one fandom in particular, and it's led me to connect with so many people across other sites and other fandoms, and just kind of open up a whole new world.
Mm-hmm.
Like at Community Connect, for example, that fandom convention I referenced earlier. I got to just sit in panels with people who are working on other sites doing the same things I am, but slightly differently. And we're just chilling there, spitballing ideas with Jimmy Wales, the guy that created Wikipedia and co-founded Fandom.
Jeez, that's cool.
And it's just kind of led into this larger journey.
Mm-hmm. And it's all volunteer work, right? That's
Yeah,
yeah. So that, I mean, that's got to be something cool that know that you're part of something that people probably look on a daily basis at this point. Like it's huge.
I always get amused whenever I see someone like reference Wikipedia, and I'm like, hey, I'm on there.
I'm on there. I'm part of that.
And you just kind of have that surreal moment of like, wait, people actually know what we're doing.
Yeah. So speaking of like kind of speaking of that, like it's been around since 2005, right?
Yeah, so Wikipedia was launched in 2005, in March,
Yep.
and that was after some discussion on Wikipedia about how in depth should Wikipedia coverage go. Should it be just the basics of the movies and the main characters? Should it
Mm-hmm.
be articles for every minor unidentified character? And the general consensus was don't go too in depth.
Mm-hmm.
And that led to Wookiepedia being created at the time, called the Star Wars Wiki, um, which was a place where you could have this more in-depth look into literally every single aspect of it.
Mm. It, was Wikipedia like more the blueprint for a lot of the fandom Wikipedias? Do you think?
I have to imagine that there was a lot that were inspired by it, because we
Uh-huh.
were one of the earlier sites. Some of the others being like the Muppets Wiki, for example. I believe they were 2005 as well.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, there was a much more strict process for creating a site. You had to kind of submit an application through. So fandom used to be called Wikia, and then before that, there
Yeah.
were Wiki cities. At the time, you had to submit an application for what you wanted to create, why you wanted to create it, and then they would approve or deny it. And it wasn't like today where you just go and you just say, create, and
Create a
you
page.
make a website.
Right. Hmm.
So yeah, I would imagine this probably was the template for a lot of sites,
That's
to kind of realize that, what, your
that's
fandom
crazy.
can go as in depth as this.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. I mean, I kind of teased this at the beginning, but when I was in like middle school, so what was that? Like 2008, 2009. Um, a lot of kids were watching movies and doing other things at night, like texting girls and stuff like that, and I was laying in bed on my phone or on my computer reading articles on Wikipedia. Like that was my nightly reading. Was that I would pick a character and I would just read their entire history.
I think a lot of us have done that.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean a lot of my like lore knowledge has just come from the brute forcing of reading the Wikipedia articles, and
Just
obviously,
I'm gonna read this 3,000 word article.
yeah, yeah, literally, like, and then honestly, like, I would read like, okay, here's R2's entire Legends history, and this is before Legends of Canon were a thing, and I would find stuff in there being like, oh, I didn't even know that book existed. I'm gonna read that book or listen to that book or whatever. So I mean,
Yeah, and you get the moment you realize this is actually a much larger one.
yeah,
This is a much larger fandom than I expected.
honestly, yeah. And then like I would wake up the next morning and tell my parents, I'm like, dude, did you know R2 like survived for like thousands of years? He met Cade Skywalker. Like, and my mom's like, what are you talking about? And my dad's like, that's cool,
Like
man.
who? Just like who are you? What? Who
Who's
are you
Cade
talking about?
Skywalker? Like I thought there was just one. And I'm like, no, there's like
What's R2D2?
yeah. But yeah. Any other fandoms that you're into, like I don't know, Lord of the Rings or anything like that?
Pretty much, if it's sci-fi related, I try to at least
Dabble.
have some. Yeah, I try to dabble a little bit in it. Um, Another site that I've recently started kind of working on is the wiki for the show Jericho. It was a show
Oh,
in like the
jeez.
mid two.
Yeah.
Ah, finally someone
Yeah, I know Jericho.
As a fellow Canadian, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's kind of been like a long term project for me, is wanting to kind of go back there and kind of use some of the knowledge I've gained from Wookiepedia to kind of make that a better site, because it's the content's lacking. It just kind of needs a lot of work.
hmm
So that's
Man,
kind of been one of my long term goals,
I
which
haven't
has
heard
been
about
inevitably.
Jericho in so long. Like, no joke, it's been literally like probably 10 years.
It's such a great
It's a
show.
great show, honestly.
Like, one of the best ever created, in my opinion.
And it just got, because remind me, it got cut off. Like,
Yeah, so it was, you had the
in
season
a,
one cut off, then they
yeah.
were going to cancel it, and all the fans sent peanuts into the studio, and then they brought it back for the 7 episode finale.
Yeah, and then they did a comic series after that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a good comic series, just wasn't the same.
Yeah, because you kind of want to see it on screen. Like, it's
Yeah,
cool and all, but
I wanna see this.
yeah. Man, Jericho. That blast from the past, jeez.
Just fair warning: if you go to the Jericho wiki, it is sorely lacking.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'll keep that in mind when I start searching up Jericho fandom pages tonight.
think I've fixed a lot of the background styling, so things like dark mode, how content displays, but a lot of the content just needs a good solid rewrite.
Mm. Dark
And this
mode.
brings us right back to the idea that I just need more free time.
Yeah, is that it for everybody? It's like we
Yeah.
need more free time, and then once you have free time, you're like, I have nothing to do.
I mean, I had a list of projects. Then I continued to make another list of projects. Then at Connect, I made another list of projects with a bunch of people. And then as soon as I got back, do you think I worked on that project? No, I started a project to help other sites with their dark mode fixes.
Uh,
For reference to anyone listening, so on Fandom, if you're logged in, you have the option to view any Fandom site in either light mode or in dark mode.
and dark mode is far
Historically,
superior.
yes. The issue being that a lot of templates and background code were not designed with dark mode in mind, because it didn't exist at the time of their creation years ago.
Hmm. That is gibberish to me because I
That
am
is
not a coder. I'm a business major.
for reference. I'm not either. I just happened to pick this up while I was
Yeah,
doing it
for
on our
sure.
site.
I find it infinitely interesting though, because I mean,
That's the cool thing about any fandom site, is the fact that while all the content that's outward facing is wildly different from fandom to fandom, at the behind the scenes level, it's all the same code.
mm,
So I can look at a template on Wookiepedia,
the My Little
and I know
Pony
that the
one you
code on
can
it.
help out with.
Yeah, I know that the code is going to be virtually identical in some way, shape, or form. So if they need something fixed on their site, I might be able to kind of piece it together just based on what I've done on our site, because it's the same background code.
Hmm. That's yeah. That I mean, you wouldn't even think about that when you're just hopping on the site or something like that, thinking it's you just don't think of that, right? No one thinks about
No,
that, but you
no, no
obviously
one
you do.
really. Yeah, no, but nobody really, and it's a lot of stuff that people don't see, like the thousands of kind of background edits
Yeah.
that keep things looking good, that keep the site running. Like, I think in the last couple of weeks, I've probably, through editing scripts, I've probably done dark mode fixes and coding on pages about 18,000 times in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, because what was that, like 2, 3 weeks ago that they announced it?
Oh no, it's been a couple of months now. It was
Oh,
around
okay.
the
I
time when
only
they
saw
launched.
it 2 or 3 weeks, so therefore it didn't exist before then.
Yeah, it's been a couple of months, at least a couple of months now. It was when I believe it was I believe it was when they released Fandom Desktop.
Hmm.
But yeah, dark mode was a more recent addition.
Well, back to Star Wars because we went off the Jericho train and then.
This is what it means to be a fandom editor. You just
Oh,
keep going down
it's
other rabbit
that is
holes.
what this podcast like. There is a podcast that we did, and it was me and my local friends that I've known for like 20 years, and we ended up just talking about hunting rifles for about like an hour, and we started off talking about Star Wars. But okay, so one of my favorite questions to ask is it could tell you a lot about what you find interesting in Star Wars in general is like, what's your favorite moment in any story, anything in terms of the Star Wars? What's your favorite moment?
I think when I think Star Wars quotes, the first thing that always comes to mind is Thrawn
Hmm.
in Legends right before his death, but it was so artistically done.
Yeah.
And I think
Thrawn.
I think that's something that's very symbolic about Star Wars, is that it's at its core it is very artistically done.
Hmm.
And
Oh, is it,
when you
George
get
made it
into
as an art
art,
house movie.
yeah, and when you get into the art behind it, it's I might like something different than you.
Hmm.
It's all interpretive, but at the very core of it, we all love the same thing, even if we like different variations of it.
Totally. Might not like something, like there's certain stuff I don't like, but I love that other people absolutely despise. But yeah, right. Like my favorite, I think I have kind of two, but my favorite quote is Qui-Gon, your focus determines your reality. Love it. Absolutely love it. But also in the Mando season 1 finale, where Grogu and IG-11 are like flying through town, is
Oh yes.
legit one of my favorite like Star Wars moments of all time.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
It's beautiful. The music is great. Like it's beautifully shot. Like that was the moment I'm like, give Taika Waititi like a Star Wars movie. I've watched every single movie of his and I loved it, but that was his episode, and I'm like, okay, he could do Star Wars. Like he gets it,
So let's make this happen.
and it did. It's all because of me. No, but seriously, like that's what I think is so beautiful about this universe is that there is something in there for everybody. There
Yeah.
you can pull something, and I think the more inclusive and more diverse the cast and stuff like that gets, the better it's going to be. It only enriches the universe itself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Back to Kenobi. Do you think there's going to be season two?
I wouldn't be surprised, and I would honestly love to see a season two where it's maybe he runs into a former Padawan, like say Ferris Olin. Maybe we go that direction.
Go into the Tuscan tribe with what was it? I always forget his last name. Oh, first name, but it's
Oh
Het.
yeah, Sherrod Het and
Sherrod
a
Het.
Sherrod Het,
I wonder if they would ever do that. I doubt it because that's bizarre. But
or maybe some adaptation of John Jackson Miller's Kenobi novel.
yeah, I listened to that audiobook like 2 weeks before Kenobi came out because I'm like, I got to read up on this. I wonder if they're going to pull anything from it. They kind of did.
I I would not be surprised.
Did you see John Jackson Miller's tweet? I think it was today or yesterday. He's like, I wrote it that it could fit in any story really, and
Oh
he's like
yes,
I maintain that my story still fits within.
and it really does. Like
It does,
there
yeah,
it wouldn't yeah there it wouldn't actually hurt anything.
yeah. The only stuff they might have to edit a little bit is like the het stuff, and because it does set up like crate and stuff like that. But I think that would be cool. I don't know.
I'm all for it. You know what? I could get behind
It's like the Darth Plagueis novel. That's canon to me.
that.
That was I think that might be one of my favorite books. Is the Darth
It
Plagueis.
was I very much loved how like in depth it went into the history behind Plagueis and behind Palpatine and about how he got where he is.
It made metachlorians make sense to me. And like anytime someone bitches about metachlorians, I'm like, nah, it makes sense. Like yeah, it's about their count, but also there's another connection. There's something more to that. But is there a book? Because you got in on the book. Is there a book that you're looking forward to? You say you go for the next best thing, the next thing coming out, but there has to be a book that's coming out that you're super excited about.
At this exact moment, nothing really comes to mind just because I'm just so far behind in
Fair,
everything. I've got a backlog of probably like 20 or so things to read, so I'm just like not even looking at what's coming out.
fair enough, fair enough. What are you on right now then?
Right now I'm going through hmm, I'm probably just about to finish off the or the newest Thrawn
Yeah,
series.
right.
Um, just picked up the last one. I had a friend who managed to of all places, snag it from an airport bookstore in the Netherlands, or no, in Amsterdam. The only Star Wars book there in English, and it happened to be the one I needed, so he snagged it for me.
Are you like a physical book reader or audiobook
Yeah.
kind? Okay.
Oh yeah, you can't beat the physical feeling of like just a book just chilling in bed with a fan on.
I'm an audiobook guy, so I listen to everything. Mark Thompson is the Thrawn voice to me.
He does a very good Thrawn voice, though. I will
Great,
give him that.
great thought Thrawn voice. And also his Marchion, however you want to say it, Marchion Row is so good, so good. I don't know if
I
you've heard
haven't
that.
personally heard it, but I've
Oh
heard that he's
man,
done very well.
he does this voice and it is just bizarre and makes your skin crawl. Um, I highly recommend if when you're done the Thrawn trilogy, um, the Brotherhood book that just came out by Mike Chen. That I finished reading that or listening to that like a week before Kenobi came out, and man, did it hit harder because it goes into like the brotherhood between Obi-Wan and Anakin so well.
Yes,
So I
I
highly
have heard.
highly
I've
recommend you
heard
go to
the.
that.
I've heard people talk about that, and that's on the list.
All right. All right. Well, unless you have any other questions for me personally, I mean, I've run through my list of questions, so
I think that's probably about a good point for me to snag some dinner.
yeah, like I literally got off work here and jumped on the podcast, so I'm starving. But thank you so much for coming on this. I had a blast, and I'd love to connect with you in the future, maybe at a celebration in London and get a beer or something.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, everybody. And this has been another episode of She's Throne Moon podcast. And hope to see you next time. Okay. Bye.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one.
All right,
Bye.
take care.